Hi and welcome to the We Need Roads podcast, and it's our Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 spoiler special. Once again, Jose is in Florida, where he lives, but he just hasn't been seen since the last 2 episodes. David is still not back from his honeymoon, he's definitely still alive, and the fact that both of them have gone missing and I haven't seen for at least 2 episodes now in Florida, you know, we might have to start putting out missing persons notices. But once again, I am joined by Ben Lord, and well, that's it. We was going to have everyone's favourite Ravager Jose, but he's still missing in action. So it's just Ben Lord. Do you like your nickname, Ben Lord?
I don't, although I do like being put in the same category as Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, I just want to put it out there on the record that just because I'm getting more podcast time doesn't mean it was me that kidnapped David and Jose. I mean, it doesn't mean that they've been kidnapped and that it was me. Honest.
I'm just saying, you flew back from the States 2 days after David flew out to the States, and he's not been seen since. But you're back in the UK now.
I am.
And Jose was on a road trip somewhere last episode, and we've not heard from him since.
Just a few loose walnuts, and the podcast is all mine.
Well, anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure they'll be back at some point this year. And anyway, this brings us on to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And this sees James Gunn close out his Guardians trilogy before heading off to be DC Uberlord and make a new Superman film. And the question is, does he stick the landing? Of course he sticks the landing. We don't even have to speculate on that one. We know he does. But we'll get to that. Now first, let's catch everyone up, because since the last standalone Guardians of the Galaxy film, we've had them Rescue 4 be quite integral to both Infinity War and Endgame, and then turn up contractually and briefly in Thor Love and Thunder before getting the hell out of there, before then getting their holiday special, which was like a side quest movie, focusing mainly on Mantis and Drax, which I was completely fine with, kidnapping Kevin Bacon to cheer Peter up for Christmas. Right, that's it, you're all caught up. But imagine if you hadn't seen any of those and went straight from Guardians 2 to 3, you'd be like, but then who would do that, right? Arseholes would do that. Anyway, 3 kicks off, sadly, with an acoustic version of Radiohead's Creep, with Peter being kind of useless and drunk, and Rocket just kind of moping around as well. That is until Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter, arrives and critically injures Rocket before then getting his ass handed to him by the rest of the Guardians. This sets up the film with the Guardians on a quest to find what they need to save their friend, and while much of Rocket's story is told in flashback, that's the broad strokes. Now Ben, did it live up to the hype?
Absolutely, 110%. There's not much in this movie that made me go back on anything and made me regret liking these movies. Like, it was, I mean, yeah, everything about it was very well crafted. Very well crafted.
And I think we need to jump straight to the end of this, because the big things all the trailers hinted at, and Gunn and the whole cast hinted at, was that this is the last film with this cast, and we were just like, he's going to kill everyone, isn't he? The madman's going to kill them all. And do you know what they did? They didn't do that. They went for the super happy Wayne's World ending.
Yeah,
where none of the main characters really died.
So I thought it was really clever. The opening scene that you just talked about, where Star-Lord is drowning his sorrows, being an absolute alcoholic mess because Gamora doesn't want him anymore, and we've all been there. It was genius of Gunn to get him drunk and passed out so that he's carried out looking like he's dead. So they could put that in the fucking trailers, so it looks like they killed Star-Lord. And he washes that away in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And I was like, you cheeky fucker. I honestly thought that like there was going to be a thing where Star-Lord was going to be dead, and I was like, well done, well played, that man. So yes, trailers be damned.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Gunn, he fakes out the deaths of certain characters in it so many times. I mean, obviously, Rocket at the start, you think, well, actually, no, thinking about it, but at the time in the scene, I was like, they're going to kill Rocket, and it kind of is, because the whole film, from Rocket's point of view, almost right until the end, is just his memories and what happened to him. So we get in Rocket's story in kind of a fever dream, dying flashback.
To me, it's like his life's flashing before his eyes, and it's like, So it's like, oh, he's fucking dying. And you even get that scene where he goes to the light, So I was like, all right, they're doubling down. They're going to kill one of the best characters in this franchise.
I also thought, in one of the big action scenes, that I thought Nathan Fillion's character was going to kill Drax.
Yeah.
Our boy Fillion. Captain Mal got his due, didn't he?
Last.
He got to be actually badass in this. And then Goofy, which is
yeah, he was credited in the opening, credits. Like it was, I went with my bud
Master Kaja.
Yeah, I turned, with my buddy. I went to see it with Al. We looked at each other and was like, "Yes, Fillion's in it again." And he's, Fillion's been in all of them so far, but him and Gunn have a.
Was it from Sliver onwards?
Yeah, Sliver would be in the first thing he worked with James Gunn on, and they've been buddies ever since. And if you're watching The Rookie at the moment, Michael Rooker has just been in 2 episodes of The Rookie, so like it's all feeding into each other.
Rooker in the Rookie,
Rookering rookie rockery. So yeah, it's like a whole family vibe. But yeah, Fillion, come on, man, like giving him a shot at some actual screen time, and like, just facially as an actor, he can pull off a scene by saying no words. Like, and he does it several times. Some of the looks he gives, you're just like, he's carrying this scene just by looking.
When he's slagging off the guy on his team, I've got one
of those. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I mean, give that man more.
I honestly thought he killed Drax at that point with that big boom.
And then he shoots from the front and the back, and you're like, fuck, Drax is down. Like, this is it, game over. Yeah. And Mantis goes over, picking him up, and oh god, yeah.
And then at the end, you have Peter freezing in space just to get his thing, and I was thinking, okay, they're going to kill him then.
All right.
And I was watching it going, yeah, they could totally kill him there. I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
And then they don't.
Yeah.
But then that's great because it gives Adam Warlock's character his motivation to then help someone and become part of the team going forward.
Yeah, but
and we all knew that with Adam Warlock. We knew he wasn't going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, he was too much of an idiot to be a bad guy. He was just, like his character is kind of dumb.
Do you know much about the Adam Warlock character bar than what we see in this film?
Not enough to speak confidently about it. No,
Yeah, because I just wondered whether, because they say, we hatched him early, that's why he is how he is.
I believe that
the actual Adam Warlord from the comics might be like a bit proper.
Yeah,
better.
Actually,
or not better, but it's a great way of doing it. I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't in it enough because I think he was in it just the right amount. And he's clearly going to be an ongoing character, right? He's definitely, they're setting him up.
He's in the team now. Like, did you see the after credit scenes?
He's the team. Yeah. He's the new team.
Yeah.
I'm a bit annoyed. Well, not a little bit annoyed, but a minor annoyance that you've got Elizabeth Debicki in it, who's also fucking brilliant. And I loved how her character, like when we find out that the main baddie, the High Evolutionary, created the Sovereign, who were like one of the main villains from
volume,
who were one of the main villains from the second film. You're like, holy shit! So this guy's that badass that he just creates a whole race of arseholes for fun.
Yeah,
gold arseholes.
That is the name.
In 2, she's really regal and like proper, and then this one, she's just like ragged and just like
dishevelled and it's. And what's incredible about her role in that is not only the character development, but for anybody that doesn't know her work outside of this movie, she was the love interest in Tenet, I believe, which I think is probably one of that film's shining performances. Like, she was truly fantastic for me.
Oh, she's the best thing in it.
Yeah. So like if you want.
Although I guess that twist when I watched Tenet and I saw when she's coming in the boat and you see someone
diving
jump off the boat, I was like, that's her in the future. Yeah. I was like, that's definitely gonna. We just saw it, Tenet spoiler special. But hey, to be fair, you'd have to watch it and listen to a spoiler special just to fucking understand it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Anyway, off the nose.
So it's a lot. So the Adam Warlock character was interesting, like being like almost like a child mind in almost like a Captain Marvel-esque powered body, which when he's got his outfit on looks suspiciously like fucking Iron Man. But we'll let that one slide. I did that scene that you were talking about at the end as well, where Star-Lord's once again in space. Did you just a side note here? Did you notice he never put on the Star-Lord mask in this movie?
Yeah. Do we know why? Or was it...
No idea. Maybe Chris Pratt...
I've seen people raise the question.
Chris Pratt is probably worth too much money now to cover his face. He's probably worth more than Downey Jr. at this point. Or at least approaching it. So they probably...
So what's that say about Pedro Pascal then?
Yeah, he's just more into the craft. Gotta say it.
Apparently he's not as a handsome man, according to than Chris Pratt, which I think people would definitely find issue with.
I mean, Chris Pratt, his name alone sounds like Crisp Rat, and now that I've said that, you'll never unhear it.
Crisp Rat.
Now say Chris Pratt. That's all you can hear is Crisp Rat, right? So anyway,
I'm not gonna say
that scene at the scene at the end where he is in space, and the reason he's in space
freezing,
he goes back to pick up his beloved Zune music player, which is a beautiful throwback to something that I think is really, really fun. He goes back to get it, and then he gets caught as the ship's blowing up. He tries to jump to make it to what is effectively his ship, his planet as well. There's two things that I had issue with here. First off, is when they're rescuing there's a bunch of animals on a ship that were being held like Rocket was. To be experimented on and just used as trash experiments and thrown away and cast away. So Rocket wants to save them, and the team have to, after risking their lives and saving everybody, have to go back and risk their lives again to save all the animals. Looked a bit like Noah's Ark, or at least had a Noah's Ark connotation. And if you know anything about Mr. Crispy Rat, his thing right now is very much religion and his belief in Christianity and so on and so forth, which I never have a problem with. Each their own. That's fantastic. But when you start putting references like that, and the scene that you just talked about, where Adam Warlock flies across and they create the Sistine Chapel picture.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a bit religious-y for me, and it's iconography that is, you cannot separate it from religion. It's on. It's the Sistine Chapel painting. It's hugely famous. It's steeped in religion, and it that wasn't for me. I didn't like that being,
Did you think it was played seriously or for laughs? Because everyone laughed when that happened in my screening.
You know what? Maybe I didn't give that a thought. I just guess because I know, Chris Pratt's beliefs. I assumed such a thing. So that's a very, very good point. If it was played for laughs, then well done, and that would be more in tune with the actor Chris Pratt not taking himself too seriously, and that would be fantastic. So yeah, maybe I overthought that, which is a thing I do.
So we're going to jump around a little bit on this because I've just got like loads of bullet points, and obviously the best character in the film is Rocket because it's his story. This film is his story, right? Would you go with that? Would you agree?
I don't know.
No, okay.
Yeah, I agree that it's his story. I don't know that he's the best character.
You can't really say it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's definitely his story, and like I say, his.
And of course, it ends up with him being the new captain or leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
which is great.
However, my second favourite character is, and I thought she almost stole the film, was Mantis.
Absolutely outstanding.
Just so good. My favourite line of the whole film, and I wrote this down as I was coming out of it in my notes, is when her and Nebula are arguing about her messing something up, and like Drax walks in, and I forget what he says to her. He goes, "What are we doing? We taking a piss out of Mantis or something? Mantis, you arsehole!"
Oh,
that was the biggest laugh in the screening.
Are we still pretending to be angry? Was it that line? They all get
something like that. Yeah.
Right, Nathan Fillion's character catches them breaking into that facility, and they all pretend to get mad. And Drax is playing it like he's pretending to be mad. And then when Nathan Fillion's character leaves, he's like, "Oh, we all still pretending to be mad? Yeah, Mantis, you arsehole." That was a very, very good line. But yeah, like Mantis was the heart of the piece. She stands up for herself in this movie, which she doesn't necessarily do in the last one.
Well, it shows her character's evolution, doesn't it? From slave to ego to actual character.
Yeah, and I think it's great, and it furthers her character from the Christmas special, which is why her and Drax. Yeah. There was that kind of will they, won't they, thing with her and Drax, which I thought was really, really fascinating.
But Drax finds her really unattractive.
Yeah, and he says that, but like. I feel like Drax is the kind of guy that would find someone unattractive but still be in love with them. Like he's just this blunt instrument, which you find out in this movie that he's not. He's got depth that you didn't know about. So that's and again, a more evolution, a natural evolution. It doesn't feel forced. It just feels like, no one fucking asked him if he could speak other languages, and he can. So amazing.
Dave Bautista, I think he's one of the best actors going at the minute, especially with like that physical size, and like everyone always says, "Oh, who's the best ex-wrestler who's become?" And because you got The Rock, you've got Cena, and you've got Bautista. And okay, The Rock probably makes more money, but he plays The Rock. He is a movie star in like the sort of the Tom Cruise mode. Batista's an actor. If you see him in Knock at the Cabin, if you see him in Blade Runner, he's in Dune.
Yeah.
I mean, working with Denis Villeneuve, the fact that Denis Villeneuve saw someone in him and goes, one of the best directors in the world, saw someone in Batista, was like, No, this guy can actually fucking act. And if you look, any film where he wears glasses, he's brilliant. He wears glasses in what was the other film? He's the one with Jodie Foster as well. Hotel Artemis.
No, I haven't seen that.
A little indie film. Right, look it up. It's brilliant.
That?
It's about a hotel. It's a bit like a John Wick kind of
thing.
Oh,
I have seen that. Oh my god, yes. Yes, I forgot the name.
Jeff Goldblum.
That is such a good movie. That is so well put together. Oh my god, yes.
Underrated film that next to no one has mentioned or seen. Should do an episode on it. So where was I going to say it? So yeah, when we get to the end of the film, we have it's clearly going to continue. I think Marvel aren't going to throw it away, but Gunn's moved on. But there's enough in that universe where they're setting up the new team, and the new team is Rocket, Kraglin, Adam Warlock, Cosmo, and some young girl who they saved,
who's got some sort of weird like blue glowy eyes and like powers in her hands, which I have no idea what that's all about, and
or her name yet. One other thing I was going to say is what I really liked about this film and what they did well is it kind of felt like Lord of the Rings in a way that every character got a really, because it's the last film with these characters and that team, each character got a thorough arc from start to finish where, they got to their ending, which is perfect for each of the characters. And it was a smaller, more personal story. It was just the High Evolutionary after Rocket. That was it. Yeah. It wasn't world, galaxy ending. Well, it was one world ending.
Yeah.
It was one world ending. Counter Earth, R.I.P. Too soon. But it was this. There was no like big MacGuffin. It was just. And what I liked about the High Evolutionary as a villain, there was no sympathetic backstory. There was no. He was just an utter mental psychotic arsehole.
Yeah, and that's why he's my favourite character from the movie.
Yeah, so let's talk your favourite character in the movie, David. Ben.
Don't call me David. That's unfair on David.
Especially as we don't know his whereabouts. So, Ben, let's talk your favourite character in the movie, the High Evolutionary, played by Chukwudi Iwuji, who everyone else also knows as, I forgot his character name, but he was in Peacemaker as well. Which I'm guessing
was he? I didn't watch Peacemaker because I really disliked Suicide Squad, so I didn't watch Peacemaker.
Okay, well,
let's argue about that, bitch.
That's another podcast to come up with then. But he played Clemson Mern in the Suicide Squad. So obviously that's no, not in Suicide Squad, in Peacemaker, which is obviously where he worked with James Gunn for the first time.
Right.
Because James Gunn did all of Peacemaker's TV show.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I
almost want to give it a second chance now, don't you? A little bit.
No, not at all. I honestly thought Suicide Squad, the second one, was awful, absolutely awful movie. Which is what gave me pause coming into Guardians 3. Now that
Gunn.
Yeah, and also it's James Gunn in his new iteration. Now I've got to say that the High Evolutionary as a character is fantastically well fleshed out, for someone you get to meet in the movie and who obviously doesn't make it to the end of the movie. So like that arc in itself was beautifully played out, incredibly well acted, and like I said previously, the character has this real like violent, like abusive, like bully like vibe that you only really get from like, for me, like independent movies. Like someone's only really brave enough to be an out and out piece of shit when you don't have to worry about the entire world seeing it. So for this character to be that well played in that way and brave, in my opinion, to try and to bring that in is incredible. Like as an actor, I mean, obviously the character's a piece of shit and like he gets exactly what's coming to him, but yeah, like I mean, good Marvel movies are made by their villains. Good movies are made by their villains, but good Marvel movies especially, like Thanos. You don't have 10 years of the MCU without Thanos, and this
arguably Infinity War is Thanos' backstory, origin story. And that's what makes it work. That's why the whole thing works. Yeah.
And whilst it's very clever, actually, like script-wise, because as you're getting Rocket's backstory, you're also getting the High Evolutionary's backstory as well. So, in fact...
2 for 1.
Yeah, and you don't really notice that you're getting that backstory, like, because you're focused on the Rocket story, or I was focused on the Rocket story at least, that, so you fill in a lot of those blanks. And you almost get an understanding of of why Rocket is so important to him when the end of the backstory happens, because obviously Rocket attacks him, like High Evolutionary kills Rocket's prison mates, who are the only friends he's ever known.
Let's get on to Rocket's friends. Fuck you, James Gunn. You made me cry almost in the cinema over a CGI otter. Like, good
with,
God.
With robot arms.
With robot arms. I mean, and she was, I mean, this is one of the things that people have been, has had like a really mixed reaction. People have said, those scenes of the animal abuse are really horrific and hard to watch. Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, good. They should be. It shouldn't be like feeling. I mean, Rocket looks fine.
Well, you say Rocket looks fine. Doesn't look like a raccoon. Like that's abuse in itself, you know. Like
Rocket looks fine compared to Floor. Floor will be nightmare fuel for small children for years to come. Whoever had the
and any small children watching this movie, oh, poor them. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, James Gunn, the fact he had the idea to cross a rabbit with a spider and add in a few more cybernetic things.
No, with a guard over its fucking mouth, so it looked like it's being gagged almost. It was like that weird
S&M.
Well, yeah, but like even beyond that, it was like that weird spider toy from Toy Story that's in the bully's bedroom, like, with the doll's head. Like it's almost as creepy as that, just with an extra level of James Gunn. So yeah, I mean, and even the walrus, whose name ends up being Teefs, which I thought was really cute.
Teefs.
Like he's only like a wheelchair because, you know, he's a walrus and he can't get around. So like they've grafted like wheelchair wheels onto him and stuff. It's next level abuse. It's brutal.
A lot of people said this was really super disturbing and really pushing the PG-13 limit, and like it's a 12A over here in the UK. And I mean, Lila's death, man, was just probably the harshest bit of the whole film. So much so that when Rocket attacks the High Evolutionary and actually rips his face off.
Yeah, my God. I mean, like, come on, man.
Well, and then what you don't realise is, because I thought, this is what made me question it. I was like, but sorry, mate, you can create a whole race of perfect-looking beings in the Sovereign, but you can't fix your own face. And that kind of, not really. He kind of looks. Face. What's he called? He calls him Skeletor at one point because he's kind of like, it's all stretched, isn't it? And like.
But he's built himself a new face. It's enough for him to get on. He's you know, remember, like, from my point of view, he's you know, going for the greater good. He's trying to create something that is beyond, you know, just himself, which is again a Thanos quality. You know, Thanos is trying to, you know, eliminate half of the universe so the other half can thrive. There has to be like a human element to what these people are doing, otherwise you don't understand their motivations. So he's trying to create a perfect race. So he's not that worried about what he looks like because he's creating that perfect race so they can, you know, do their thing. Yeah, he's like, whatever, I look like RoboCop now, I'm fine.
What's your name, son? Murphy. Well, still on the High Evolutionary, I mean, yeah, Chukwuede's performance is that good that a lot of people now want him to be the new Kang. Because Jonathan Major's potential legal troubles, Marvel are still at the stage where they could jettison him before they go on. And everyone's just like, he's that good. And again, with recasting someone like Kang, you've got the variant argument. It could just a variant. That's how obviously DC are going to do it with the Flash. I mean, when the new Flash film comes out over here soon, if Ezra Miller's character version of the Flash is not killed in the end credits or at the end of the film and then replaced by a new one, I think we'll all be surprised, you know.
Can I ask you about that really quickly? Do you think there will be, bearing in mind this is like a multiversal movie, do you think there will be a cameo of Nicolas Cage playing Superman, fighting a giant spider?
I mean, I'd pay money to see that, but I don't know.
I put money on it.
Really?
I put good. Well, I mean, it's DC trying to do the Marvel thing, and like that story is synonymous with the DC backstory now. Like, if they don't pay like homage to it and go, you know what, we'll hold our hands up. Yeah, this kind of could have been cool, but also we recognize that it was lame. Like, that would be. I mean, yeah. Like, it's 1,000 to 1 shot, obviously, but I would put money on that 1,000 to 1 shot.
Just finishing off on a High Evolutionary, I was going to say right at the end, where who is it who tears his face off?
Well, it's young Rocket.
It's Rocket at the end, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because he
Tears
jumps.
his face off.
High Evolutionary kills his 3 only friends in the entire world.
No. This is at the very end. This is at the very end of the film.
Oh, when he peels his face off.
His face off.
It's Gamora.
It's Gamora.
She's got him by the throat, doesn't she? And his face hanging off a little bit, and she peels his face off.
Now that was single shot there, and what his face looks like underneath literally looks like one of the poster images from Evil Dead 2. How they get that in a 12A film these days, man? I mean,
I don't know, but you're right. It was so graphic, like eyes. Well, no, his eyes hanging out of his socket almost, and his like nose completely gone, and just gasping for life almost. It was really disturbing, like really disturbing.
Right, well, let's talk cameos. There was quite a few cameos in this film, and I wonder how many. Obviously, Nathan Fillion, well, he's credited, so it's not really a cameo. Did you spot James Gunn's wife, Mrs. Gunn, Jennifer Holland, in it?
I did not.
Because you didn't like the Suicide Squad, and she was in the end credits of that, and she's the main character in Peacemaker. But she plays Harcourt in the Suicide Squad. She's the lady who gets shot in the leg by Gamora. Who in the
Oh really?
That's his wife.
Yeah, she's like the receptionist of that giant living ship.
Yeah, and the receptionist, the other girl who Peter's trying to charm, that's Ratcatcher, Dania Melchior from the Suicide Squad as well. I didn't realise it was her.
Right. So none of these cameos are actually any good. Then they're just people from his other films, his other movie, which was shit.
Well, we're going to have talks about it. Seth Green's in it. It's Howard the Duck again. You get a little bit shot of Howard the Duck.
Yes. Okay, so I forgot that was Seth Green. That was great.
There is another character from Ant-Man, not character. There is an actor from Ant-Man 1 and 2 in this film who is completely unrecognisable, even as their gender.
It's
you know this, don't you?
It's what's his name? It's the Russian guy, isn't it? From his.
No.
Oh, is it not?
No.
I thought he was in. Oh, is he in Quantumania or something else?
No. I don't know who you're talking about. Russian guy. You know the big monster pig-looking thing, War Pig?
Yes.
War Pig is voiced by Judy Greer, Ant-Man's ex-wife.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Never would have caught that in a million years.
You wouldn't think that's a woman doing that voice performance, would you? And,
oh, that's great.
Because
I
didn't
really
click
great.
until there was pictures from the premiere, and I was like, and she was there at the premiere, and I was like, yeah, James, put me in like a DC film or a Marvel film, and everyone was like, wait a minute, why? But why is she there? Because she was War Pig.
That's crazy. Who did the voices for Rocket's friends? Because I haven't looked that up yet. Like,
no, I haven't actually.
They were all 3 of them were great.
Well, I can tell you one of them. Lila is played by Linda Cardinelli.
Okay, all right.
Scooby-Doo, ER fame, lots of stuff recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, she does the voice of Lila.
Like as a voice actor in that role, like she garnered like just so much emotion in that character, like a really soft-spoken. Oh my god! Sorry, I've just looked up who's in this movie, and there's so many.
And there's so many of these cameos that I'm like, I don't think I saw that person. I couldn't even tell you who that is. I think the IMDb, if that's the site you're on, literally just lists everyone he's worked with on this, because I'm not too sure it all pans out. But
so Ving Rhames is in it.
Isn't he one of the other? No, because he's not. Because he's one of the other Ravagers in 1 or 2. I don't think he's in this one, or if he is, he's in a background scene. See what I mean? So I wouldn't trust the IMDb as a be all and end all on this one. But Ben, as you are a musician and music is, well, your life, we're going to talk briefly about the soundtrack.
Good idea.
So it's a little bit of a bummer starting with an acoustic version of Creep, wasn't it? You know, usually Guardians is upbeat and it's like, you know, and it's starting with that. And I was like, okay, it's kind of giving me a bit of a downer here at the start.
I mean, isn't that just to ease you into Rocket's frame of
horror?
Mind? The lyrics of that song, you know, I'm a loser, I don't belong here, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo. Like it is just like it is. He's always been self-deprecating in like the worst way. He thinks he's a useless failed experiment.
Yeah, so when he gets drunk in the first film and gets in a bar fight because he thinks everyone's looking at him. You know, it's always there, man.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's a bummer for a Guardians to start on a down note, but I think it needed to. Like I don't. And, you know, I'm not the world's biggest Radiohead fan. However, like
The song fits perfectly.
The song works. Yeah, for me, it's pretty good.
And it wouldn't be a Guardians film without some classic rock. So you've got Heart, Crazy on You in there. You've got one hit wonder band, Space Hogs, in the meantime, which was used in the first trailer. Arguably their best ever song they did as well.
If they're a one hit wonder, that is exactly their one good song.
I mean, could you name I couldn't name another song of theirs.
I couldn't even name that one.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I work in music, and that is not a thing that I could have done.
But also, you've got Flaming Lips, The Replacements, Bruce Springsteen, and I really like the inclusion of Faith No More's We Care a Lot when they're like heading down to like take care of business.
God, it's punctuated again, isn't it? It's very lyric oriented. I feel like the music in the first two movies was more about the music, the actual melody, and the feel of the music, whereas this time they've used lyrically clever songs. So We Care a Lot is an angry song that the message is very much what the Guardians of the Galaxy is about. They're like an angry bunch of people that care a lot. So,
it's perfect.
It's pointed. It's like, and like I say, with the Radiohead song, it's lyrically important.
As much as I like and love the Beastie Boys, No Sleep Till Brooklyn was literally used in Super Mario Brothers a few weeks back as well. And at least in Super Mario Brothers, also starring Chris Pratt, the characters are from New York.
What's his name?
Chris Pratt. I didn't get it right. I did say it right, so it hasn't stuck its way in my head that much.
Chris Pratt,
thankfully. You're going to keep saying Chris Pratt. I'm going to tweet Chris Pratt afterwards.
Yeah,
but at least in Super Mario Brothers, there's a connection, right? They're from New York, so No Sleep Till Brooklyn, fine. No real connection in this one there, and even the lyrics don't even make. So, like where you were just saying, the lyrics worked for the other songs, like We Care a Lot and that. Mm-hmm. The lyrics don't really work here in that. No. I mean, personally, I would have used Intergalactic.
Brilliant.
Except if you see the trailer for the Marvels, they've already used Intergalactic in the trailer for the Marvels.
See,
so they've stolen themselves,
shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, that is a problem, and I do agree that that out of all of the songs that they've used, that is the one that it's a cool song. Don't get me wrong, and I love Beastie Boys. I'm never going to be tired of hearing them in movies, but I mean, yeah, you're right. They could have picked. If you're going to do a deep cut, like even Egg Raid on Mojo would have had as much impact as
that would have been,
No Sleep Till Brooklyn, because it's not a song that lyrically, so it doesn't follow that theme.
But the attitude is there, isn't it? The attitude of Egg Raid on Mojo matches perfectly for that.
It would,
scene.
Really would,
because that's the corridor slaughter scene. That's the
yes, yeah.
I like to call it the cabin in the woods lift opening scene, but for Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it? Really, it's that
nice
kind of.
Yeah,
let's just slaughter a whole room full of aliens, and because they're aliens, we can chop whatever off we want. We can have blood and organs and stuff spurting everywhere because it's all CGI stuff, so we can get away with it. And I mean, Jesus, they just slaughtered a hell of a lot of everyone in it.
They did, and they slaughtered them good as well. Like they didn't fuck around.
No one was coming back from that.
If I could bring up a point, the movie's only curse word, to keep it a PG-13, or
perhaps the first one ever in the Marvel movie as well.
No, because there's that scene where Captain America says shit and Tony Stark.
But shit's an okay one.
But there's a fuck
this
in there,
drops,
and it's
they drop the first fuck.
Maybe the first one, but yeah, it's very well done, and it's very very clever. Like
Nebula,
I really enjoy that.
Get in the fucking car.
Well, yeah, she's trying to figure out. He's trying to explain how to open how a car door works, and she finally gets to like push the button to click. It's an old school 80s car door where you've got like the push button with your thumb and you pull the handle, and she finally pushes the button, and then she's like, "Now what?" And he's like, "Open the fucking door," or like, "Get in the fucking car." Yeah. And it's delivered with that typical Chris Pratt, like timing, and it just really is so well done, and such a throwaway but integral part of that movie.
One of the final songs in the film, usually, and this is going to be interesting because, as I said, you didn't like the Suicide Squad, so we have to talk about this another time. But I thought his choice in music he picked for that was superb, and this is the first time I think there's been a misstep with James Gunn picking a song. Well, although admittedly, to be fair, we just kind of debated No Sleep Till Brooklyn because great song, doesn't really fit the scene, nothing really. Perhaps it's more a bit like you say about the musicality rather than the lyrical content.
Yeah, it doesn't stick out, but he could have picked something better, perhaps.
But again, and I argue this at the end of the film when everyone's celebrating and they're having a little dance off, because of course the film's got to end with a dance off after the first film.
Yep.
You have Florence and the Machine's "Dog Days Are Over." I mean, it's a fine hit song from however many years ago, but I mean, I get everything's okay for them now. They're through the worst of it. The dog days are over, but it's so literal and on point. And I just thought you could have picked so many better songs to use than that. So many.
Yeah. I mean, the dancing part of it was really important because obviously you got like Baby Groot when he's dancing to ELO in the beginning of the second one,
which was better. You know, and the end of the first film when it was better.
Yeah. When it was better, that was Jackson 5. That one, that was great. But yeah, you're right. I think that it's a weird song because I didn't recognize that as Florence and the Machine. I was kind of I wasn't really paying attention to the music, and what I want from a Guardians movie is for the music to draw me into that next dimension. So, like the fact that that I recognise a lot of the songs is actually important. However, that song does not close out the movie. It isn't the last song that you hear. It's they do the callback to the very first song that you hear when they do the first after credit scene. So actually, they round out the movie. They tie a big ribbon around it with the same song they started it with.
Well, you frantically Google the name of the song. I was going to say my suggestion for that celebration scene and quite a few other songs. I'm like you, man. I say rock music guy just because it covers a multitude of guitar-based genres. But I would have had some Foo Fighters, man. You could have used a ton of their songs, right? My Hero could have practically gone anywhere in that film at any point, pretty much. Yep, My Hero would have worked. Everlong would have been perfect at the end instead of that. Learn to Fly, you could have fitted in when Rocket escapes. You know, just lyrics, thematically, everything. Also, I had a little shout out to Everclear. You could have had Santa Monica when Counter Earth is getting destroyed. You know,
you and Everclear. Oh my God, leave it alone.
Well, you could have had Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden. That could have worked quite well.
All right, yeah.
Because those animal people kind of look a little bit like the weirdo people in the Soundgarden video anyway, and all the bright colours in it. It kind of had the same aesthetic. So, Beck Loser would have worked well at the start if you wanted to.
That would have been great.
Because you've got the lyrics. The lyrics, although it's a happier, upbeat song, it's still got the lyrical content. Is still, why don't you kill me? I'm a loser. Oh yeah. Song.
I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me? That's interesting.
It would have changed the tone.
Yeah, I don't know that it would have been that it's better, but it's definitely definitely a song that I like more. Therefore, I want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
just completely self-serving.
If I had free time, I would recut stuff with my own music on it. Not my own music, other people's music.
Oh yeah,
but
just
I'm very busy. I'm very busy, man. So what was the song then?
I'm just still looking. I got caught up in our conversation. Leave me alone. Oh, it's Redbone. Come and get your love.
Redbone.
Come and get your love. Yeah, Redbone.
Which we all definitely remembered right now.
Come and get your love. Tune, absolute tune. So they end the whole thing where it began with Crisp Rat kicking crispy rats around a planet.
And as you would say, and as Beavis and Butthead would say, you said bone.
Yeah.
As we're getting towards the end of the film and the podcast and life here on Earth and sanity.
We said the same thing.
And one of my little sort of things I was a little bit down on was I thought, because there's so much time spent establishing Rocket's backstory, all the other characters, I thought of all the characters, I thought Peter was a little bit underused. He had one storyline, which was, you need to get over Gamora. And fair play, I'm really glad they didn't put them back together, because she's a completely different character, who is a dick.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time labouring that point in the movie. Yeah. She has to scream at him at one point, I'm not the same person. But then she ends up kind of into him again, like, which you kind of, is obvious it's going to happen because a version of her fell in love with him.
She went off with Stallone.
So that is a trade up, I guess. But yeah, they're talking about he blows something up, doesn't he? And when Adam Warlock is in the ship and he sets a self-destruct, and after a movie of trying to win her over, he sort of gives up and then blows up, sets the ship to self-destruct with Adam Warlock in it, and she loves the way that he does it because she spends the whole movie terrorizing people, and he's like, you got to fucking stop killing people, it's brutal.
Yeah. I did like Angry Gamora. She was good, man. She did well with what she had. And just ultimately where Peter ends up, he has that one scene with Mantis where she's just like, but haven't you got family on Earth? He goes, oh yeah, but I had a grandpa, but he's probably dead or like super old. And then he just ended the film. He's just like, oh yeah, I had that one conversation with Mantis. Do you know what? I'm going to go back to Earth. See you later, Guardians. I'm just going to go back and see if my granddad's still alive. I was like, where did that come from, man? Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like that was smart. I think it was like, I feel like he's going through some real serious heartbreak. Like this movie is his like rebound almost, and that whole heartbreak vibe, like he's recognized that there's a piece of his life missing through his him missing Gamora. So I think him going back to his family was it landed in a way that he hadn't quite realized, and Mantis is clever because she uses Drax to do it. So there's that element of it as well, which is really funny. But yeah, no, I think that landed important in an important way for him. So I like that ending.
I'm a bit more cynical. I think it's clearly a play that Pratt wants to stay in the MCU a bit more, and they've put him on Earth clearly for another film that's going to happen at some point.
Well, it's an Avengers movie. It's got to be, because he's not in Guardians anymore, really. He's down on Earth, and it only says at the end, the zinger at the end is Star-Lord will return. It doesn't say Guardians will return.
Star-Lord.
The legendary Star-Lord, will return. So, yeah, I mean, potentially maybe the only linchpin for an Avengers movie that I would give enough of a shit about these days. I mean, maybe Doctor Strange.
We'll have to have whatever. An MCU episode soon, man, because David's quite down on it now. He's like completely checked out on a lot of it. Jose's a bit more positive and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, so it's nice to have the balance. Yeah, we can do an MCU ranking. Our top 10 MCU ones would be a good one to get everyone in sometime. Yes. Now, I think we're going to get into the end here, and overall, I say it's a great film and a really good emotional closure to the trilogy. It's not 100% perfect, and in trying to fairly balance out the satisfactory ending arcs to all the characters, it means, for me, not every character gets the full shine, and like what I just mentioned, I think Peter gets the least of it, but he was the focus of a lot of the other ones, so I think I'm quite happy with that. And like we mentioned, I think he's clearly going to factor into more MCU stuff coming forward, and non-Guardians Avengers, so the script definitely requires him to be on Earth for the next phase. So I'm going to throw to you, Ben. What is you going to give this out of 10?
Bear in mind, it's probably the best Marvel movie of the recent Marvel movies, in my opinion.
Since Endgame?
Since I mean, do the Spider-Man movies count? Do we still count them as MCU?
Yes. Okay, so No Way Home.
So No Way Home, like being the last one that I really loved.
Yeah.
I would give this. This is really tough. I want to go in. I want to go in at 8. I want to go in at but I want to go in at like a wobbly 8 out of 10. No, a wobbly 8 out of 10 because
a low 8.
Yeah, just because I feel like.
Chicken Tonight.
I feel like Chicken Tonight. Now that's you showing your age. I feel like that there was just a little bit more. It's like you said, they could have fleshed out some of the characters. It's an 8 because the bad guy was a truly awesome bad guy. The funny bits were really funny, and it did give me whiplash a little bit in that it was a really dramatic thing, and then someone would just like break the tension instantly by saying something hilarious. And some of those were brilliant, and some of them made me go, we could have lived in that moment for a little bit longer. So, yeah, some interesting decisions. But like an 8, nonetheless, I still think is a fucking great achievement.
Yeah, it's a really good trilogy, man. Is that when people can point to really good trilogies where all 3 films are good? That's one of them. No bad films in the trilogy. Earlier in the year, I actually had this at number 1 on my most anticipated films of the year.
I heard that podcast.
June Part 2. And only it's because I'd been on the journey with these characters for the last almost 10 years, whereas June, it's very epic and dark and serious, and I loved it. It was the best film of the year it was out. But I don't know, I felt like this was going to be more enjoyable. And it was, to a point. But the funny thing is, literally as I was writing my notes for this, the trailer for June Part 2 dropped. And what's the one thing it had in that trailer, the first June trailer and review film we have? It had humour in it. I was like, shit, it had humour, and it added in the Pugh as well. We refer to Florence Pugh because of how great she is and everything, has just the pew, all capitals on this podcast. The pew, yeah. And of course, we didn't even see. We had bald Elvis as Sting's character, and of course, we didn't even see Christopher Walken playing the Grand Emperor Padish. So yeah, it's all good, man. Oh, also Leah Seydoux, Bond girl, just rocks up in one shot. Forgot she's in it. She's definitely a space witch. Anyway, getting completely off point talking about space witches, although not really so much. Before we go, I'm going to give it. I'm going to go an 8 out of 10 as well. Actually, no. I was going to go 9. No, I'm going to give it 8. I think there's enough little things that not bug me, but yeah, I'm going 8. But before we call it a day, I have one last comment from one of our listeners, Rachel Miller, who said, "Anyone who's seen my latest tweets and blog will know I love Guardians Volume 3 completely. It was absolutely everything I could have wished for, funny and so heartbreaking. I've not known an emotional rollercoaster like it, made with heart, love and sincerity. Thank you, James Gunn."
Well said.
Yeah,
well said.
Much better than we did, and much more succinctly. Right, so I think that's about all the time we have today on the We Need a Rose podcast. Ben, I think we'll have you back whenever you're not living the rockstar international lifestyle.
I'd love to come back. It's been a blast. I hope everybody enjoys my nonsensical ramblings.
I believe we'll call you Sci-Fi Corner. David's kind of got David's dungeon now, where he...
Not Ben Lord.
Ben Lord. The Ben Lord Corner.
That's awful. Let's just stop that now.
I'm just saying, when the merch comes out, we might get a Ben Lord t-shirt made.
Honestly, I'll sue.
With your picture from when the Zoom froze at the start.
What? I was deep in concentration. That's real life. You can't fake that. However, if
we
you
are
do
such
put my face on a
long-term
t-shirt,
friends, I will not post that on Twitter. I 100% will not put that online.
You know that I don't have a Twitter account, so I wouldn't know if you did.
Then I definitely won't.
I smell a lot of bullshit coming out of you.
That's just a chicken tonight. Okay, right, that's all the time we have. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one.
We needed roads.